Look, to go and do that.
He's telling
You can spin this all the way you want. The President of the United States is not going to, he didn't make a promise to go and invade boardrooms and tell companies, private companies, how much they should pay their employees.
One thing he did do was say that he was going to make life more affordable. And as we pointed out, most Americans say that they don't think that that's where it's headed. He said he would bring prices down. We all knew that that wasn't going to happen because that's not really how prices work. Inequality continues to go up. He talked about bringing down government spending.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. Phillip goes head-to-head with Tim Parrish on Newsnight with Abby Phillip as tensions rise over equal pay, executive compensation, and the growing divide between rich and working-class Americans. While Tim Parrish argues in defense of the current system, Abby Phillip strongly challenges his position during this heated CNN discussion on wage inequality and the increasing cost of living. Let's get into the debate and see how it all plays out.
Rose 20 times faster than workers in 2025. And while the average global CEO pocketed $8.4 million in pay and bonuses last year, it would take the average global worker 490 years to earn the same amount. Adjusted for inflation, global worker pay fell 12%, while real CEO pay surged 54% between 2019 and 2025. But as CEOs use their increasingly growing power to undermine workers' rights, one of them is defending that $9 latte that you had the other day.
What we're seeing is people, they want to have a special experience. And regardless of what your income level is, in some cases, a $9 experience does feel like you're splurging. And then what that means is we have to make it worthwhile, right? And then in other cases, people believe, well, this is a really affordable premium experience because they're saying like, well, it's less than $10.
I feel like to fully appreciate what he just said, you might also want to know that the CEO of Starbucks was given a private jet to commute to his office from his home in California. He is going 1,000 miles away, presumptively as often as he wants, and he's got a big old corporate jet in order to do that. And he's asking you to pay for a very special experience in a $9 cup of coffee.
Well, that video was not a premium experience. I'll start there. That was really cringeworthy. I am curious to know, I don't go to Starbucks often, but I'm curious to know if the premium experience is the barista writing your name incorrectly on the cup. Is it the people that squat there all day long and turn it into their home and office? Is it the really bad coffee? I don't know. I'm very curious about it. But to those who are complaining, every time I walk by Starbucks, every time I drive by Starbucks, there is a line as long as the eye can see. People still go. They want their fix. They're willing to pay. So we can't complain unless we use our power as consumers and say, you know what? I can make a cheaper, better cup of coffee at home, and I'm going to do that. But people want to pay for convenience.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the thing is, fine. I guess if you have a business model that says $9 for coffee, which they do, is fine. Then the other side of that, so what are you doing for your workers? I think the part that Americans don't like is where they feel, gypped on the other end, on the salary end, on the benefits end, on the ability to sort of provide for their families, that part.
Abby, I'll take a different approach to that because I believe that we live in the greatest country on the face of the planet, and there's unlimited opportunity here for anybody who's willing to work hard and go after it. If you're upset about this and how much your CEO makes, go launch your own Starbucks. Go launch your own company. Go not create that easy. Competition. Of course, it's not that easy, but it's never that easy to start a company or something. So anyone in this country, like I said, who's willing to work hard and apply themselves, go become Starbucks competition and sell $7 premium experiences and undercut your competition.
Please like, subscribe, and share. This debate highlighted why many Americans feel increasingly disconnected from the modern economy. While worker productivity has steadily increased over the years, wages have remained relatively stagnant, even as CEO compensation has skyrocketed. For many people, it feels like the system disproportionately benefits those already at the top. The argument that workers should simply start their own businesses overlooks the financial realities many families face today. Rising housing costs, expensive health care, child care expenses, and student loan debt make taking financial risks far more difficult for people living paycheck to paycheck. Millions of Americans still struggle to handle even minor unexpected expenses. Public frustration also intensifies when corporate executives enjoy private jets, large bonuses, and luxury benefits while employees continue fighting for reliable schedules and fair pay. Starbucks has experienced union disputes and labor conflicts across the country, reflecting the growing tension between workers and corporate leadership. Most Americans are not upset because companies are successful. The frustration comes from the belief that profits and economic rewards are increasingly concentrated among executives and shareholders, while everyday workers continue facing rising living costs and mounting financial pressure. That's why conversations and debates like this resonate with so many viewers today.
Like, I don't think that I wouldn't complain. I would just say, if I don't like it, I'll go start my own thing.
I think. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
I'd prefer if Abby asked the questions, but sure, you can ask the question.
I mean,
It's okay. We can talk to each other here.
do you think that it's insane to say that Starbucks should raise their wages for their workers? Is that insane to say as a concept?
I think that I believe in free markets, and if a private company sets their wages what they are, then that's what they are. And if you don't like the wage,
Do you support the minimum wage?
If you don't like the wage, don't go work there.
You support
I've
minimum
applied for
wage?
hundreds of jobs where they didn't meet my minimum I wanted to make, and I didn't go work there. And it was as simple as that.
You also don't have the affordability, or you have the affordability, most likely, to say no to some things.
Sure.
Some people have to take jobs that don't pay the living wage to keep up with rising inflation. And they are in these positions. And I think to Abby's point, what you're seeing is workers at these companies are just not getting paid for what they should be. And then you see these CEOs getting these extravagant, enormous bonuses. And that is the choice of the company.
Right, it's
but
the
I
choice
think
of
there
company.
has to be some type of conversation that we have of raising the federal minimum wage and seeing and giving workers more benefits
I appreciate
so that they
that.
can be competitive in the
I
marketplace.
appreciate that. My mother worked 3 jobs when we were coming up. And if something didn't pay more, she would either go get another job or she would work hard to achieve so she could go make more money.
But
it's not as simple as
it's not really about the math.
just telling a CEO what they can do with their business.
But it's not really about the math and the economics. It's about values, right? So not long ago, the guys, and they were all guys who ran big American companies, GM, Ford, Sears, those things. They paid themselves about 20 to 30 times the wage of the average worker. Today, that's 300 to 400 times. Japan doesn't do that. Germany doesn't do that. The UK doesn't do that. America does that because the values shifted from what's best for the company to how do I drive the stock price up and get as much of that as I can. And the notion that so much of it is going to so few people is one of the reasons we got Trump.
Piggyback off of that, because largely we understand that when Trump was running for president, he said that he was going to raise the wages for all these workers all across America. But real wage growth is 80% less than what it was. So that's the real facts. So if you make a campaign promise that you're going to raise wages for workers all across this country and you do not deliver on that, then who does that fall on?
Well, I don't think the president's point was he was going to go tell private enterprise that you have to pay people.
He said he was going to create the economic conditions to do so. Has he done
but
that?
That doesn't mean that he was going to go invade businesses, boardrooms, and say you have to pay your
Did
employees
he create
more.
the economic conditions to go and do
we
that?
Well, he's telling
you can
businesses
spin this
who to
all
have
the
on
way you
air.
want. The president of the United States is not going to, he didn't make a promise to go and invade boardrooms and tell companies, private companies, how much they should pay their employees.
One thing he did do was say that he was going to make life more affordable. And as we pointed out, most Americans say that they don't think that that's where it's headed. He said he would bring prices down. We all knew that that wasn't going to happen because that's not really how prices work. Inequality continues to go up. He talked about bringing down government spending. I couldn't let the day pass without this headline. The Trump Qatari gifted Air Force One is almost delivered, it sounds like, $400 million of taxpayer dollars to give the president a more luxurious ride in the midst of this conversation that we're having, in which 2 in 3 Americans now say that they worry more about running out of money than dying in this country. Look, I think the question I had for you, because I hear a lot of people talk about 2 or 3 jobs, but is that what we want in America?
Right.
For a mother to work 2 or 3 jobs in order to keep her family afloat? I take it that is an extraordinary thing that your mother did and that many of our families have done. But is that what we want for the future of this country?
I mean, look, that's a point that's taken. I think mothers like mine and others at this table do what they have to do to go and provide for their families. And my father also, for the record, worked several jobs as well. But my point that I'm making is simply this. I would not complain that my CEO is making all this money. If I had an issue with that, I would go start something. I would go create something. I would go create means for me to go and make more money. That's what I wanted to do. We live in a country where that is available. We live in a country where people
We actually
in fact
don't live in
go
the country where
and
that's
do those
available.
things.
Here's the thing.
We create new businesses are started in this
I
country
think you,
every
no, I
single
think, can I
day,
just say
and
something?
business
I think
owners are successful.
Tim is tapping into the idea that the American dream and the idea that you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps and create a business, create jobs, grow your wealth is available in this country. And I don't think that is the reality that many Americans face when they see gas prices at $4.39, the highest that they've been since 2022. I don't think Americans feel that the opportunities are there for them. And that's frankly something that Donald Trump said he would create, opportunity.
Please like, subscribe, and share. At the heart of this debate is the growing disconnect between economic theory and the reality many Americans experience every day. In theory, a free market system is supposed to reward hard work, innovation, and opportunity. But for a lot of people, it feels like climbing the economic ladder is becoming more difficult as wealth continues concentrating at the top, while wages fail to keep up with rising costs. The idea of starting a business may sound simple in theory, but in practice, it comes with major challenges. Limited access to credit, expensive healthcare, high housing costs, and widening regional inequality make entrepreneurship much riskier for people who lack savings or financial support systems. Although new businesses continue to emerge, many small business owners struggle to survive long-term. Meanwhile, the widening gap between executive pay and average worker salaries has strengthened the belief that economic success is not being distributed fairly. That frustration continues to surface in political discussions and cultural debates because many workers feel that financial security and upward mobility are becoming increasingly difficult to achieve. So ultimately, this debate is not really about whether people are willing to work hard or pursue success. The deeper question is whether equal opportunity still truly exists in today's economy. One side believes the system still offers endless opportunity, while the other sees barriers becoming more difficult to overcome with each passing year. And before we continue, take a moment to think about this. Are you tired of hearing completely different versions of the same story depending on which news outlet you watch? One network presents one narrative, while another tells the exact opposite story. That's where ground news comes in. It allows you to compare how left-leaning, right-leaning, and centrist